You know what I've noticed, man?
Huh.
Everybody looks better the older they get.
Is that right?
Yeah, bro. Everyone trends upward. Everyone. Think of anyone? They look so much better now than they did.
What is this?
Everyone.
Is this because I'm about to turn 29 or something?
Yeah, I'm trying to pump you up before you turn 29. You're going to be great. You're going to be fine.
It's going to be okay.
3, 2, 1, bro.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Murphy.
I'm Mike Murphy.
We are the Brothers Murph, and this is going to be our top 10 games to play over the holiday season.
Over the whole season. Okay, there's family, there's people, friends. So these are going to be a bunch of games that are like good for different groups, maybe non-gamers.
Maybe not games, big groups, small
things that
groups.
make you feel festive and whatnot. They're not necessarily like Christmas games or anything like that, but they're just going to be games that are appropriate, I think, for the holiday season and all the things that the holiday season may bring.
Yeah, and something if you want to bring around games during the holidays and hopefully get them played, we think these are good ones that you could potentially get played during the holidays. Especially if you're like us, we're like a brother and sister game with us.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's it.
Like, no one else.
So every time we pack an entire carry-on bag just of games for our trips,
these better be 2-player games.
Yeah, because
much.
This is us, man.
This is how it is, you know?
We have all the hopes in the world, but these are games I think we could actually get our family members to play.
I think so. I think so, too.
I believe in us. So yeah, should we do it?
Let's go ahead and get to it. Real quick, everyone, make sure to like and subscribe this video.
Before you even see the list, because once you see the list, you're not going to want to thumb it up. So thumb it up now.
Give it now.
So now that you've thumbed that up and subscribed to us, you can now watch the rest of this video.
Otherwise, it would have cut off. It's not.
Would have gone to a weird ad for like Hulu or something. It's like YouTube advertising Hulu seems wrong somehow. Anyway, let's get to number 10 because this list is upon us.
Number 10 is going to be a game that is, if you're one of those families that takes, your vacations in like Hawaii or like, Fiji.
You've just been dreaming of a nice Hawaiian holiday.
If Mele Kalikimaka
is your favorite Christmas song.
Exactly.
This is the game for you.
The Waikiki hockey sketch in SNL was your favorite SNL sketch of all time?
That's a deep cut, man. It's just us talking
right?
about that one. So
us and Pops.
Only us.
The Waikiki hockey, great sketch. Wayne Gretzky, good hockey player, not the best actor.
Oh, no, he's terrible. But this game is not terrible. This game will give you the Moana feels, and this game is called Blue Lagoon.
Blue Lagoon is by Blue Orange Games, ironically. And then it's by Reiner Knizia as well.
Yeah.
It's ultimately kind of like an abstract game.
Yes, there's spaces on a tile and you're putting things down, but the spaces could be anything. The things that you pick up could be anything.
Yeah.
But they went ahead and made it a beautiful, vibrant
gorgeous
board that's just very tropical.
Very bright.
Yes, and you played over 2 rounds. So in the first round, thematically, you're explorers coming into these various small islands that are all kind of near each other, and you're coming in from the ocean, right?
Yes.
We are, descended from Voyagers and stuff in Moana.
From Voyagers.
And so you're coming from the ocean, you're placing out little tokens and stuff of your color, and then you can go onto lands, and then kind of move around from there. And things you can do is you can pick up like the various resources that are on the island, and you sort of get like set collection.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can also set up like little colonies.
Yeah.
And stuff
huts,
like that. And you're trying to get around to kind of as many islands as you can, picking up as many little tokens and stuff along the way as you can. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of reset the board.
Yeah, everything wipes off except for your little huts, your little colonies.
Exactly. So the first round, you're explorers coming from the ocean. The second round, you have colonized, and you're further exploring, but you're doing it from your colonies. So you can no longer just bop around anywhere on boats. You have to kind of go more linearly from your towns.
And it's weird that this first and second half, despite the fact that you're ultimately doing the same thing, which is always just placing one of your pieces in lines and such, it feels way different because you have to strategically set up your like little huts and colonies around in good spots. So that if you put them all right here, that's not going to help you. And so, like, you go around and you want to be touching as many islands as you can to get more points per more islands you touch. You get, like, blocks off. But ultimately, it's a very simple game. You're just putting a place down, and then you put one place, and you just go around and around and around and around until the round's over. You wipe everything off, do it again. So it's very easy. It's something that pretty much anyone can grasp, but it's so vibrant, and it's, like, thinky. So people could be like, oh, okay, like, kind of like, I get what's going on. Especially if someone likes, like, chess or, like, checkers or any of those kind of abstract games. This is a great kind of game for them to kind of move them into the hobby. It's Reiner Knizia, so ultimately it has no theme. They just threw a theme on top, but the theme is gorgeous and awesome. And I really like this. This is a game that I was not really expecting to like when we first got it. And I really like it a lot. And it's a great game for this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of, you can just focus on like building little paths and stuff. So there's not much to think about, and it's really pretty. If you're going to paste on a theme, paste it on with bright colors.
That's right.
That's what they did with Blue Lagoon, so we quite like it. And I think it'll be a good hit for the holidays.
Indeed.
Let's get number 9, man.
Let's do it.
Bang. Now, number 9 is a really fun game that can accommodate up to 6 people, and I'd say it's best at 6 people.
Yes.
And for your uncle who maybe has a gambling problem, it's really going to help him out.
Yes, it is.
Because this is a racing game in which it's all about making the most money
It's
and
all
betting
so
smartly.
So when that uncle comes up, he's like, "Hey, Timmy." He's like, "My name's Johnny." He's like, Timmy.
Yeah.
You want to learn how to bet on horses?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the game for you.
Exactly. And a famous horse racing game is Downforce, where the horses look a lot like cars because they're cars.
True,
right?
true.
So Downforce is an awesome racing game where you're going to be bidding for cars at the beginning.
Yeah.
If you're playing a 6-player game, you'll get 1 car. If you're playing fewer players, you're going to probably have multiple cars. And so you're trying to not like overpay for your car.
Yeah.
And then you go into a race, you want to win the race because that gives you a good amount of money, but there's also points where you're going to bet on who you think the winner is, whether or not you think you're going to do it. So you can kind of like form weird alliances with other players and try to make sure they get over the line first because you bet on them.
Yep.
There's all these little things to consider, and the game moves really quick because you're always moving all the different cars around the board.
Yeah,
by
and it's
playing
just
your
one
cards.
lap. It's
Exactly.
not like multiple laps.
Yeah.
But yes, because every card you play, for the most part, will have multiple colored cars on there, and you have to move them all. And again, it's not, you get points for being in first. Don't get me wrong. Like, you want to be in first if you can.
Yeah.
But you win by having the most money. So it's more about like betting well. So if like I bet on you, I may be playing cards to push you across the finish line and just letting my car burn in the back. And there's been times where like I've come in last place in the actual race, but won the game because I bet like a champion. And so like
You're smart with that bid.
so it's a game where it's like, because the biggest problem with me for most racing games is like, if you're just in last, you're just like, all right, cool,
cares?
why am I even playing
Yeah.
anymore? Because you just can't ever catch up. With this, it doesn't matter nearly as much. So there's not nearly as much of that, like, oh man, I'm in last, like, I don't want to play this anymore. And that one person who's like mopey the whole game because they're losing. This one doesn't matter nearly as much because you can just bet on someone else and then help them get across the finish line.
Yeah.
So it's very, very cool. Plays up to 6. It's just great.
Yeah, and if you want to like scale it down because you have kids, you can play without the betting.
Yeah.
You can play without like bidding for a car. You
Without
can just
the
be like,
player
who's going to
powers?
win the race? You can play without the player powers. You could strip it down. It's not. It doesn't become complicated with all those other things. But if you have
No.
like a kid and you just want to have them like get the car around the thing, totally do that. So it's kind of versatile in that.
Yeah,
way.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our number 9, Downforce. Awesome racing game. It's
So good.
quick, fast. It feels like an actual race. And the fact that Restoration Games made it doesn't hurt. Every game does deserve another turn.
Indeed.
So anyway, let's get into number 8.
Number 8. Our number 8 is a game that came out last year, but just recently got brought over into the English world, and that is a game called the Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Quacky-dacky-dacky
Now,
dog.
this is probably the heaviest game on our list. It's not super heavy by any stretch of the imagination.
Comparatively.
But yeah, but it comparatively it is, and this is for people who like, can handle a slightly more strategic game. And again, it's not too bad, but the reason why I want to include it in the list is because there's definite strategy, there's definite stuff, because you're building a potion, you're building your cauldron, but ultimately the game comes down to like push your luck.
It's just a push your luck game.
You're pushing your luck. So the thing is, you can get dumb lucky and win. So like the strategy is definitely there, but in the end, it comes down to push your luck. And that's what kind of curbs it enough where I think it can go onto a list like this, where for the most part, we're looking at like Gateway, maybe a little bit above, but not too much more.
Yeah.
And so this is a great game where you are surprisingly not a duck, considering the game is called the Quacks of Quedlinburg.
What if you're making duck potions? And like we just have never gotten
potions
to that
for
level?
ducks?
Ooh.
Or they're made out of ducks?
Ooh. All of them.
Okay, cool.
It's made for ducks, by ducks, and will make you a duck.
Sponsored by the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Quack.
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 Quack, quack, Mr. Quedlinburg.
And so you are getting different ingredients and you're essentially pulling them out. It's a bag building game. You're pulling the ingredients out at random out of the bag and then you put them in your cauldron. And there's a certain amount of these white chits that you get. And if you ever get a value of more than 7, you ever get 8, your cauldron explodes.
Yeah.
And then you have to stop.
Yeah.
So you're pushing your luck being like, how many can I keep going?
You got to go as far as you can.
Exactly.
To keep up.
If you farther you go, you get more victory points, and you also get more money to buy new, better ingredients.
Which will make it so that there's fewer of those white ones to come up. So
exactly.
It's all designed. It's just a straight push your luck game.
Yeah.
And the different ingredients are really fun because they'll give you little boosts.
Yeah,
and
they all do
powers.
something differently when they go in your cauldron. Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is like you could get a little heavier, but all of the little different colored chits you can get have 4
possible sides.
Variants. Yeah. And it goes from like pretty basic. So if you play just the basic version of everything,
it's
not going to be anything too crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't with people who are like non-gamers, maybe not, but anything above that, you can totally teach them this. And on top of that, it's just silly push your luck, like, oh no, come on. You know, it's just just bananas fun. Especially, it's just a great game.
I feel like a lot of games with families, it's the learning of the game that's the major obstacle.
Yes, of course.
So it's like, okay, there's a little more to learn, but like you're going to be having so much fun. I think it's going to kind of cover that initial hump.
Yeah.
If you just see the fun of it, people will be like, oh, okay, what's that do again? They're not going to get frustrated.
Yeah,
because they're just enjoying trying to build their culture.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, so that is our number 8, Quacks of Quedlinburg. Let's do number 7.
Bam, bam. Now, number 7 is a game that I quite like. It's we both do,
and it's on this list.
Yeah, it's on this list.
I hate number 6 though.
It's a game that's like kind of like a game night staple for us. Like it pops up a lot at our game nights because
it's always brought
up to 5
at least,
people. Yeah, and it's kind of Machi Koro's rival at this point. It is Space Base. For us, Space Bass is the way to be. It's a really fun game because you're rolling dice and kind of dealing with whatever you roll, but you can kind of mitigate those rolls with all of the things that you build in your space base. So you're going to have basically 12 slots for ships that have every value from 1 to 12, all the various things you could possibly come up with on a die. You're going to roll 2 dice, and then you're going to choose, do you want to activate the sum of those 2 dice, the 5 and the 2, to make a 7, or do you want to activate your 5th slot and your 2nd slot? So depending on what you upgrade, no matter what gets rolled, you could probably make something pretty cool for yourself. And then as you upgrade cards, you're going to take the card that was sitting in the 3rd slot, you're going to replace it with a new one, and then that card's going to flip over and go under your board, which now means if Nick rolls a 3, I get to activate that one that I just kind of deployed out to space. So you can make it so that no matter whose turn it is, you're doing stuff.
Yeah.
You're always gaining money or points, so that when it comes to your turn, you can just roll out and you make like one purchase. It's a simple game in terms of what you do that keeps moving, and you're always engaged because
there's literally zero downtime because you're always interested in what everyone else rolls.
Yeah, because it's probably going to benefit you.
And then even if they roll something and it doesn't activate anything in the back of your board, okay, well then they go, okay, I'm buying this, and then it goes to the next person. So like it boogies. It boogies from 2 all the way up to 5. It really doesn't change that much. I mean, it's definitely longer with 5, but like
only
it's
slightly.
Very fast game. And on top of that, what's nice, and I like games like this where it's like you don't have to explain everything at once because there's a ton of different cards, but you can explain that as they come out, which is, I always like games like that where it's like, look, I don't have to try and front load you with everything. Yeah. Look, you can get the base down and then just explain a couple of the cards, and then anything else just explain as you go.
Yeah.
And it's just great, and it's so fast, and the fact that there's no downtime and so easy. You just play with basically anybody, and it's really outstanding.
Yeah, you can really get them going early, like you said, and then explain along the way, because most of them give you money. If it has a gold coin, you're going to get that much money if they roll it. Okay, cool, moving on.
Yeah.
And then as those specific cards come out, you can talk about those. Yeah. And then oftentimes, I mean, for me, like when I first played, I'm like, I'm not going to bother with those weird cards. I'm just going to deal with the ones that have the printed iconography, so it's kind of even easier, because you're like, don't worry about that card, that card's weird. Or if, you're playing with, like, a bunch of beginners, just like that card comes up, like, nope, get a new card.
Yeah, if you want to, like,
keep it simple.
You can always scale anything to whoever you're playing with. Ultimately, I mean, you're like, that's not how the rules go. It's like, whatever, it's your game, do whatever you want. You know, it's like, oh, you know what? I've done that. I'm like, we're not playing with that. It's just like,
that card's stupid.
Afraid not. And so so that is gonna be number 7, Space Base, a great game. No downtime, lovely, just always goes over well. Love it.
Space Bass.
Space Bass.
6 Bass.
So number 6 is a great game because you can literally play this as many people as you want. As long as you got as long as you have pieces of paper, because you really don't even need like their own piece of paper. And that is a game called Criss Cross, another Reiner Knizia game. Weirdly enough,
we're Knizia guys.
We're Knizia guys now. Here's the thing:
we almost put High Society on the list.
Honestly,
almost
this close. This close.
Knizia guys.
Another Knizia guy.
Lost Cities. Knizia. There's more.
There's more.
That's all I can remember right now.
There's more.
There's more.
Criss Cross is a great little roll and write game where everyone has a sheet of paper. It's ultimately just a 5x5 grid. So again, if you run out of the actual official Criss Cross ones, you can really just draw a grid on a piece of paper.
Don't even need a ruler.
Because all you really need is the die. And then you just roll out the dice, and then they're going to have six different symbols on them. And then in that grid, you have to put the two symbols that are rolled next to each other in the grid anywhere you want. So you can put them wherever.
This way or
They just
this
have
way.
to be next to each other. And you're essentially trying to make as many matching symbols in a row and then a column. So you're just filling stuff out, trying to get matches, and then that's it. And then you get more points for having matching symbols next to each other in a row or column.
Yeah.
So like you score at the end of the game, this row, this row, this row, this row, this row. This one I have 2 matching things, so I'm going to get 2 points. This one I have 4, I'm going to get 8 points. And you just go through, and that's it.
Yeah.
It is mega simple. We played it at game night the other night, and like I taught it to 6 people and played it in less than 5 minutes. Like that's how quick it goes. And then again, you can play with an infinite amount of people. Everyone can understand. And it's just roll, boom, roll, boom, roll, boom. Oh, we're done. Cool. You won. Great. Let's play again. Boom. But you just keep going. And I mean, it's endless ultimately. And it's so simple. And it's just a great little game.
Yeah. It's awesome. It kind of satisfies that Sudoku need that we all have, you know, that famous Sudoku need. And it's a great little roll and write. And really any roll and write is good during the holiday season.
Yeah.
Let's do number 5. So number 5 is a dexterity game that's just a ton of fun to set out on a humongous table or wherever you can, and that is Flick 'em Up.
Flick 'em up.
Flick 'em up. You can do Flick 'em up Dead of Winter, Flick 'em up
Whatever.
Just flick stuff around.
Yeah.
So Flick 'em Up, the classic one that we have, is a Wild West game where you set up a little town made of little cacti and little hay bales and barrels, and you make little town fronts and stuff like that. And you've got kind of the outlaws versus the lawmen.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to shoot each other, trying to pick up certain things. There's all these little scenarios you can play, and you do everything through flicking. So if you have a guy kind of right here and you want to go over here, you're going to flick a disc and see where you land. That's how far that person ran. You can get tiny little discs that are your little bullets and try to knock people over and stuff like that. And it's just really fun. We played over the holidays with our dad and stuff, and you just get into the whole like competition of it all and trying to pull off these little trick shots that never work.
Because in the end, it's like, it's flicking, you know? It's like anyone can do it, you know?
It's just silly and fun and gets you laughing at, like, you know, you hit a cacti, which means you can't, you know, go that way.
And it can play up to 10 because there's 5 people on each team. So you can play, you can play with 2 if you want to, and each person just controls a whole side. Or you can mix it up. It really can play a lot of people. You need a table to play it on. You want a bigger table, the better. But like,
fun,
in the end, it's just flicking, and it's one of those games that's just fun.
Yeah.
Like, there's also a bunch of different scenarios. So, like, this one, you're just trying to kill each other. This one, you're trying to go, like, steal dynamite and put it in the bank. You know, and this one, you're trying to do this and this. And the good thing about the Dead of Winter one is there's a co-op variant.
Yeah.
So you can play co-op.
Cool.
So if you don't want that competition, tensions are already high enough during the holidays or whatever, it's like, let's all play the same. We're fighting against zombies and stuff like that. They also made the original game, the one we have, is everything's made out of wood, but they made a plastic version of it, and it's a lot cheaper now, which is nice. So like, because the game is not that cheap, but with the plastic version now, it's much, much more affordable, which is sweet.
Yeah, so it's a good game because you could even just set stuff up and just like randomly flick things and just have
your own scenario, do whatever, you know.
Why not, man? It's the Wild West. There's no rules out here.
That's right,
except for the rules printed in the game.
Dang.
But don't be that family member who's like, that's not how you do it. You can't flick like this. It can only be like this. Just flick it, man. Just have fun. But yeah, that's number 5. Just flick them up, man.
Good choice.
Boom. Let's do number 4.
All right. Number 4 is going to be ultimately a series of games, and that is a game called Ticket to Ride.
What?
There are a bunch. You ever heard of it?
No.
Okay,
It's some indie game.
Yeah, it's an indie game by an indie company. Ticket to Ride is one of the quintessential gateway games. It's gotten more people in the hobby than most games. You know, it's just a game where you have a map of somewhere. The base game is like just a U.S. map, but there's like Europe and Switzerland and all these other places. And you're building train routes, and that's what you're doing. It's very, very simple set collection, easy, fun. For the most part, they play up to 5, which is great. So you have a decent amount of people who can play them, but they're just easy. It's one of the most popular gateway games for a reason. It's so good to get people into the hobby because it's just easy, it's fun, it's competitive, it's so, so great. And then if you want to play one that's like pretty more geared towards the holidays, you can play Ticket to Ride Nordic Countries, which is our personal favorite version. It is based in the Nordic countries in the top of Europe. So Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. Our family's from Norway, so it's our favorite version. But the cool thing is it's very far north, so the whole thing is very snowy and it's very Christmassy. There's even like a faux like Santa Claus looking dude on front,
like a Finnish guy in like traditional garb. He just looks like Santa.
But it's very, very holiday Christmassy type look. So if you really want one that's like kind of geared more towards the holidays, you can get Ticket to Ride Nordic Countries. Other than that, any Ticket to Ride really works.
Yeah.
But if you really want to Ticket to Ride Nordic Countries, it's the best. The only thing is it's only 2 to 3 players.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's just Ticket to Ride. You can't really go wrong on Ticket to Ride. It can be on basically every list ever.
Yeah. It's a fantastic game. It's popular for a reason. So anyway, that is our number 4. Dang, Ticket to Ride number 4.
Do it.
Let's do number 3.
Okay.
Now this game is new. I dare say it's at the tips of the hotness right now. I mean, I believe in it at least. This is a game that will also incorporate dexterity and flicking, but it's also going to incorporate a badass 3D island. It is Fireball Island specifically. This game is, man, it's a blast from the past. Like Restoration Games is all about bringing games back from the past and spruce them up for the future. But this one like captures that mousetrap, all those weird built-up games, that we played as kids. It's just that, and with just a teeny bit of strategy, so you can still enjoy it if you are more of a gamer.
Yeah,
But ultimately, you're just running around the island, trying to get these snapshots, trying to pick up treasure, and then just flick fireballs at people. So there's all these fireballs around the island, and if you play a card that allows you to launch an Ember Marble, you go boop.
You're trying
to knock someone over, which will allow you to steal their treasure.
Yeah.
And then Volcar gets in the mix, this deity at the top of the island who's really not happy that you're there.
He really doesn't like you.
And you can do these cataclysms where you drop a bunch of marbles into Volcar's head and he barfs them all out at people. And so it's just chaos, man.
Yeah, it's just chaos.
I love that in the game, if the island shakes from the marbles, which it will, and you fall over, it's just like,
you're like,
I'm like, dude, Volcar, Volcar was so mad, he just shook you right off the island.
Right.
Like, that counts. You got Fireball, give me your treasure. There's all these things where it's just barely contained chaos.
Yes.
Barely
But there
contained.
is strategy in terms of which cards you play when and stuff and where you go.
move to try to protect yourself.
But in the end, you're throwing fireballs in people's faces.
Yeah.
It's just great. And here's the thing about this. It's like this game, if you tell people about it, like, oh, it's a game where like there's a volcano monster, they may be kind of like, but the second you break it out and put it on a table, and especially if you get people to play, this is going to be played over and over and over again because I've never had it go poorly. Like, it's just so crazy and fun and just wacky and such a good time that the second people play it, it's gonna be like just put a quarter on the machine to make sure that you're next kind of thing.
Literally set it up somewhere.
Yeah, just leave
There is no game out there that's got like table presence like
especially
Volcar.
if you got kids.
Yes.
I mean,
at PAX Unplugged, which you're at recently, it was popular all weekend long.
Yes.
And the last day was Family Day. Kids just
they're
right on it.
What is that?
And so it's will go over well if there's nieces and nephews out there.
Gosh.
Kids, throw it down.
Yeah,
right?
but even if you're
Put it
not
up.
adults,
it's
I
so
literally
fun.
only
because it makes you feel like a kid again.
Yeah.
And it is fun to be a kid.
It's just great. It's honestly a great game. Fireball Island is lovely. It's a weird game, and I love it. It's just
fantastic.
Gosh, it's great. Gosh, it's great. So that's the number 3, Fireball Island.
Nice. Let's do number 2, my dude.
All right. This one makes me want to do this.
It's very nostalgic for us as well because our mom makes these every year, and we decorate them every year.
Oh yeah, the people, yeah. So number 2 is a Gingerbread House.
Indeed, Gingerbread House is an awesome game in which you're capturing all of the fairy tale creatures that we've known throughout all the years. You got
and then
Cinderella.
murdering them in the basement.
Yeah,
it's not said in the game, but you definitely murder them.
It's cold in the forest, man. You gotta stay warm somehow.
Seriously though, because the thing is like you're a witch building a little gingerbread house, which is placing these like rectangular tiles on top of each other. But then all these fairy tale creatures keep coming nibbling on your house, and so you capture them and then murder them in the basement.
Yes, all right. Rapunzel's hair will keep you warm for at least a minute or two. Hair burns fast, so it's not that long.
True.
Even her
smells bad, but it's worth it. So worth it. But nonetheless, it's a Phil Walker Harding game. It's also relatively new, but it's a great festive game because it's a gingerbread house, which the gingerbreads are made, around this time generally.
Yeah.
And it's a game where you're placing tiles in your little gingerbread house, and you're placing them, and whatever you cover up, that's what you're going to get. So you're trying to get different kinds of gingerbread. Mm-hmm. There are 4 different kinds, and those kinds of gingerbread is what allows you to capture the fairy tale creatures. Because like Rapunzel wants like 2 green gingerbread and 2 pink gingerbread, so you get those, and then you can capture her, murder in the basement.
Yeah.
But on top of that, you can like get different stuff where you cover up this to get this, and cover up this to get some stairs, and stairs allow you to like match different stuff because you're slowly building your thing up and up and up, and it's just a delightful game. It's a game where I think Matthew Jude said in his review, which I want you to check out, and This Game is Broken, he did a review of it, in which what made us want to play it, he's like, you just smile.
Yeah.
You're just like, this is nice, you know?
It's
It's
at
like
some point you'll probably put together like a pretty cool combo.
A dope combo.
Because it's like as soon as you capture someone, you get this wild token which you get to put down, and depending on what you cover, you might give you one more ingredient to capture a second person, and so like
give you another wild.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes you can just do something where you just go boop 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 boop.
Yeah,
boop,
it's gonna
you
be super fun. Yeah, it's a great simple game. Again, you can teach it to basically anybody. It's definitely gateway level. Yeah, it's just charming. It's just straight up charming. It's beautiful. It looks great. It's that like Phil Work Harding who's the designer is so good at making those like easy to understand but just fun games. You know, Baron Park, Sushi Go, Gizmos. It's like so
like
much
go down smooth and like look good, and it
just kills it. And this one is great, and especially like there's not too many like holiday games, but this one really fits this season.
Yeah,
it's great any time of the year, but it really fits this season well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That's Gingerbread House, y'all. We only got one more to go.
What's number 1 though?
Oh, it's gonna be awesome, I bet. So number 1 is a game that I really think is just the epitome of like anyone and everyone can and should play.
Hey, you got a bunch of people? Let's play this.
Indeed. And that's because it kind of marries like old school games with stuff, from newer games that makes things more interesting, and there's different versions, and so the game is going to be Wits and Wagers.
Wits and Wagers.
Now, it's not as much of like a typical board gamey game as others because it's a trivia game.
Yeah.
Which is like, again, that harkens back to Trivial Pursuit and all these games. People love trivia. They like trivia type games. It's always going to be a popular thing. But Wits and Wagers is something that's more engaging because it doesn't matter if you're not the biggest smarty pants of the family.
Which I'm not.
Because you can ultimately just bet on who you think has the right answer. So if you have 7 players or something, you're going to get 7 answers for any question. The questions will always be based on numbers.
Yep.
And then whatever's closest without going over is the correct one. So if you think, oh man, that uncle of yours is really smart at this thing, you can bet on their answer, and ultimately you're just trying to get the most money.
Was Martin Van Buren the president? And like your aunt,
Crush
Aunt
on that
Mary
dude so
is
hard.
like uber
Chops.
into like a history buff. You're like, whatever I'm gonna put down some random number. Whatever she puts down, I'm betting on that because she's gonna know. You know,
and it's really cool because you can play everyone against everyone. You can play like up to 7, or you can play on teams.
Yeah.
So just like if you have a whole family, just split them up into groups of 2s and 3s, and you have that time where you're talking about. You have the question come out and you're like, oh, what do you think it is? Like that's something I think people like about trivia is when you're working as a team.
Yes.
And you're talking about what your experience with this is and trying to suss out the answer, but then also has the fun of the gambling of it all. And like if you're just like, I believe in us, man, we're gonna go big, we're gonna bet big, and you come up on all this money and stuff. So it just makes it more fun than like if you're. I think trivia can turn people off because they're like, well, I'm not good at trivia.
I'm not good at trivia personally. I'm not. I suck at it.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, I think everyone's better than they think they are, but it's like, okay, if you're not...
You don't need to be good.
You don't need to be good, and especially if you're working in teams, I think it'll be really fun, and it has the whole gambling, so there's like, it's exciting, and it just, ultimately, every time we play it with our chat, it creates like amazing fun conversations because the numbers and the answers for things are sometimes so surprising.
Yeah.
Like, what was that, the heaviest ostrich? And you see that, and you're like, that's a big bird. Oh,
That's
I didn't know
really
that.
large bird.
Which is like, I think what trivia is really fun is you get these little factoids and stuff.
Exactly.
So it just, but it's, I'm going to play Wits and Wagers over a Trivial Pursuit or a straight trivia game
always.
every single time.
Yeah.
You know
You still learn and it's still fun. And again, it's just great. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just the best. You got a ton of people. You want something uber simple everyone can do.
Yeah. Again, play on teams, so there's not like individual pressure.
Nah, it's Wits and Wagers it's the best game to bring around in these kinds of situations. In our opinion, I mean, everyone. It's just it's so good, and it was an easy number 1 for us. It's like has nothing to do with the holidays, but it's just like It's just great. It's outstanding.
It's festive and fun, and you get like rivalries going and stuff like that. And like trivia, I think is an easier sell because people will remember old games. You're like, oh yeah, trivia games. So they might sit down to actually play it, and then realize it's a lot of fun. And then maybe you can get them to play the Quacks of Quedlinburg and other things after you've got them hooked in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's just 10 suggestions for holiday games 10. Or games to play over the holidays, rather. One thing you can do right now is if you want even more suggestions is you can go to This Game Is Broken. Matthew Jude's going to be coming out or has come out with a top 10 list of games to play over the holidays. So you're going to see that. Maybe there'll be some crossover, but I'm sure he'll have some different things. So if you want even more suggestions, go check out This Game Is Broken. And don't forget to subscribe and like those videos as well.
Indeed. And speaking of that, please make sure to like and share this video. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If you feel like supporting, please feel free to check out our Patreon.
Indeed.
And
links for that in the description.
All in the description below. And thank you so much for joining us here. Let us know down in the comments what some of your favorite games to play over the holidays, whether they're holiday themed or not, whether it's just like, hey, we always play Scythe on Easter. I don't know.
Kids love it.
Kids love it. But nonetheless, let us know down in the comments. We'd really like to hear your input on this kind of stuff. And thank you so much for being here. And
happy holidays.
Yeah, have a great holiday.
Indeed, folks. We'll see y'all in the next list, in the next video. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Peace. Those brothers Murph.
No.
That's what happens when you don't plan these things, man.
Indeed. I just wanted a little bumper to let you know about Game Toppers. Game Toppers is what we're sitting at right here. This is a great way to upgrade your game experience. They're lovely little luxury game tables that sit on top of your existing table.
Exactly. So there's a dining room table underneath here, but we can just take this off and put it here, or just eat on your Game Topper if you're crazy like that.
Also, make sure to check out Restoration Games. We had 2 of their games on our list just because they're outstanding. But they also sponsor the channel. And just make sure, again, to like and subscribe and check us out on Twitter and all forms of social media.
Indeed. And, the best way you can help us out is by telling people we exist. We appreciate that. And if you want to help out a little bit more, check out that Patreon. Again, links for Game Toppers, Restoration, and our Patreon are in the description below.
Look at my locks.
The sooner you support our Patreon,
I'll stop doing this.
It's like his hair grows every time you do it, so it gets more glorious the more you give.
Yeah, that's true.